I want to point you to one wiki page where I had described a few options of creating page reports earlier, and I'll just go through this page. You get there when you click on your spaces and go to the sandbox. In the sandbox, we have all the wiki how-tos. And let me share the link quickly in the chat as well. So you can join me on that page if you want to. In the invitation, we just talked about property reports, like page property reports. But to be complete, I want to give you an overview of a few other ways of presenting content from other pages in an aggregated way in an overview page. So I have created a small example here in the sandbox. If you go there and look at this in the hierarchy, I don't know if you know about the Greek mythology and the gods. So there are some Greek gods and their children. Not all of them. Zeus was very, very productive, so he actually has a long list, but I didn't want to enter all of them, of course. I'm using these pages as examples for different types of reports that you can create in the wiki. So one of them is a children list, just a very simple list with bullet points of the pages that are under the current page. Very easy to do. It's a macro that you can insert on the page. It's called children's children. I think it's just the name, and I think that's the standard version. Then you can have a children report where you list it as topics, and I think I'm not sure yet whether they present the full page. We're going to look at this in detail when we go to edit mode, or whether this is just the excerpt of that page. But let us look at this later. So this is useful if you want to create with a few explanations underneath. Next one would be a label report. As you know, at the bottom of each page, you can add a label. For example, I could name this one how to, and you can see that the label how to is already being used on other pages. So I'm selecting this and I'm saying add to the page. So I labeled this page, and if you can add as many labels as you want, and you can create new labels if you want. And if you do a label report, this macro, it will look for all the pages that have this label, this specific label. So here I'm looking for pages with the label Uwe's report test. And you can display them in different ways. So this one is with a light excerpt view of that page.
So it will automatically come like all the links to the posts with this label.
Yeah, it's just searching the whole wiki. You can spend. I will go into detail just in a few seconds. I just wanted to give an overview of the different types. So this would be like, for example, for a glossary or something, this would be quite useful. The next one is a page property report. And that is the type of structured information that we were actually announcing in the invitation, where you can add structured information to each wiki page and have it somehow like a very simple database. So this page property report collects all the pages with a certain label and puts the information from the page properties into a table shape. The nice thing about it is it also displays the number of comments and the number of likes. So you could actually use it to vote on certain topics, and we are doing this in in the topics that we want to plan for the openIMIS community workshop in next month. And then I have included an example of a thing that doesn't work for page property reports. I think it's a bug at the moment, but it simply doesn't look nice. If you have one column which is very heavy on text, then this one will be, well, overvalued when the wiki renders the table. And so there will be a lot of space given to the column with a lot of text. And the other columns, they will be squeezed in a way that they even cut the words into pieces. And glossary ones, and it doesn't make sense. There's a bug. They even confirmed that it's a bug. And if you go here to the Jira page, you could add some importance to the bug and make it maybe get a bit higher up in the hierarchy. Okay, that was a quick overview. Let me go into the details. I'm looking at the hierarchy, and I will just open one example page from like the content pages that we want to summarize. And I am also going to edit mode so you can see how it is done. Let me just quickly go through the first couple of reports. And well, this is a table of content macro. That's quite easy. Just as a reminder, if you want to enter a macro, you can either pick one from the list above, and if you click on View More, there are many more. So table of contents is one. Or if you want to be quick, you just type /, and then the editor proposes some macros already. You can start typing, and then you get quickly to the type of macro that you want to insert here. So there's table of content, and yeah, of course we have a table of content already. So I'm just deleting this. When you click on a macro, you get an edit button at the bottom, and you can edit several options of this macro. So that is just a reminder from last week to freshen you up. Okay, let's look at this children display macro. That's whenever I have an empty page in the wiki and I know there are going to be a lot of children pages coming up, it's a lot of people don't look at the hierarchy view here at the side. They only look at your wiki page. And if you have a summary page on, well, something, let's call it Greek gods, and one of our community members has the intention to add all the children of Zeus into the page, then you can't expect that they will update a manual overview page. So this macro is very helpful to just give you an overview of what is happening in this section of the wiki. You have different options that you can select here. So you could, if you deselect show descendants, then you would just get the top level. Maybe I can just do it quickly. So you get the top two, and if you do show descendants, then you get everything that is in there, unless you specify further options like the depth of how far you want to go down, or the number of children you want to display. I think it's quite straightforward. So you can specify that you want to have headers shown, not bullets. So there's quite a number of options, and if you want to use that, you can just play around with it. It's quite straightforward. We're not going to save any of the changes here. Next one, children topics report. I'm also curious how I did this, because I don't know whether I have done an excerpt report. No, here it's a children display macro, the same macro, with a few different options. So the page names get displayed as headings, and the excerpt display is with rich content. And when you choose that, it's showing it looks like a bug as well. Normally it should not show the full page, but currently it's showing the full version of the page, like if you have a full page include. But you could also just have a simple excerpt display, and then you would just see really wow, it doesn't even break down the links. Yeah, a simple view without like the formatting and stuff like that. So we keep it as it is, cancel, and I'm going to jump to this one data page or content page or whatever you want to call it, the one on RIA. So on the page you have a bit of content, a table, and yeah, some text, and a table with the properties. So if I go to edit mode here, you can see this is the excerpt, like a summary of the page, and this is a box for the page properties. We will get to that later. But now I'm only interested in the excerpt. So excerpt is a good thing to have, like a summary of what is happening on the page. And if you do, for example, a children report like this, or a label report, then the summary would appear here and not the full text of the page. You can also manually include excerpts in other pages if you want. That's helpful if you want to set up, for example, a glossary where you want to explain terms. Then you could put the explanation, the basic explanation of the term into the excerpt box, and you could create an automatic glossary showing all the explanations of what you're explaining in the glossary. Okay, we have children reports. We have label reports, basically the same thing. Only here you specify a label, and well, you have more options. You can do the sorting. You can specify a title, and normally leave it for each page, or you can. No, I think that's the space name. Show the space name. That is what appears behind here, and show the label. That is what appears below here. So if I had added other names here, other labels, they would appear here. That's about all you have as option, and you can add additional filters. With Ancestor would reduce the search to a page. For example, I could choose with Ancestor here, and I would say current page. That would give me all the pages which are somehow children of this page, but only limited to those labels. Yeah, you see it. This could be a bit like the children report if you do it like that, but of course it looks a bit different. The style is a bit different, and you might have to play around with it a bit to see what's best for you and your use case. All right, those are simple cases. I just wanted to go through them quickly. Now let's come to the actual thing that we wanted to look at. That's the page property report. Again, it's the macro with options. Here you are forced, so that means all the pages you want to appear in this table must have a label. Otherwise it will not work, so that's a bit of a complication. You can define a space. You can limit yourself on just this space. You can add a filter. You could say, I don't want all the pages from this page to appear in the search. I just want the children. So that would be, in this case, that would be very appropriate. And then you have a few formatting options. You can give a list of, wait a minute, page properties ID. No, I forgot what this one is. You can name the title of the first column. The first column is always the name of the page. So if you have a complicated page name, then this will be a lot of text. If you have a simple page name like this one, then it's not a lot of text. And normally the title heading here is title, but you can just overwrite that here. Then you can select the columns you want to show. If I go back to this rear, we have like picture, father, mother, children, last citing as row names here, but they will be transformed into columns here. So here I'm saying I just want the children listed, I want the father and the mother, and when the god was last seen. And but I don't want the picture, for example. If you don't put anything in here, then they will always give you all the properties that they can find in the page. Yeah, listing by number of items, and you can choose one field to sort. And I think I used this because I wanted to find out whether it actually recognizes a date or whether it is always sorting by text. I'm not sure about the result. Let's just find out. We said reverse sort by citing, so that means that the latest date should be on top, but it looks like it's only sorting by text. So if you want to sort by dates, you have to put it in the order year, month, day, and then you will be able to sort by dates. Okay, then of course you can choose to show the number of comments and the number of likes. Unfortunately, you cannot sort by likes, which would be a great help if you evaluate votes, but that you'll have to do manually. So yeah, I think here we, yeah, okay, please.
Yeah, I've just got one question. So for the different columns, you said it's, if you don't specify, it just takes page properties, but if the different pages have different page properties, how does it look then?
You can, let's go back to the table here. It just looks at the properties which have exact the same name as you have specified in the column. When you add page, you're not limited to one page properties table. You can have as many as you want. For example, you could create templates that you can copy from one page to another, and I can go to the glossary to show you an example for that. You don't have to be complete, so you can leave out a row or two if you want, or you can start adding new keywords to property tables on new pages if you want. There you are very free. You won't get an error message or something like that. But of course, when you do this list and there's nothing specified for one attribute or one property, then it will not appear in the list. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet whether the page will appear. I tried this a bit in the glossary. We can look at this in the examples later if you want.
Okay, so you would recommend, for example, if I'm creating different pages related to the capacity building project, I should every time create this page properties at the end and kind of have a standard one. So then if I want to create this report, then it would be easier, right?
Yeah, if you want to do a report like that, then it would be easier. That depends on your use case, of course. I think Constanze had a few ideas on how to to make it easier for our reports to BMZ to create automated reports like that. So if we need that as a figure, if we need the total of participants, then of course that would be completely recommended.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the basic elements. You had a nice example and an example that's not that good looking. So I think the bottom line from this is keep it simple and straightforward. And even, I mean, it's never a good idea in the wiki to have pages which cover a full high density television screen or something like this. Always imagine that you want to print this out on an A4 page, and anything that looks nice on an A4 page, I think that's appropriate for the wiki to look nice as well. Always keep in mind there are people looking at the wiki on their phones as well, and especially with regard to, like, for example, students in African countries, they might not run on the latest hardware, so they might have screens that have a very much lower resolution than. So keep it simple and straightforward, and then it also works nicely with the page property report. Okay, let me close this. I don't think I have done any changes, and we can go to a few examples. Let me start with the project portfolio, maybe from the back. Yeah, that's a simple example. We can close rear. So here I have done another report, which is also not bug-free from Atlassian, but this is a page property report, basically. So we have a list of projects, when they start, when they end, and a status. So the status looks a bit fancy, I think. And if we open this in a new JZ, in a new tab. Oh yeah, you can even see I have included 2 page property boxes here. Let's look at this in detail. Go to edit. So I have created this as a bit of a template for projects to have a landing page where they can add their stuff, and I already put a few defaults in there. If they want to pick it up, they can like fill out the missing blanks and add content to their pages if they want. But I was also, as soon as I create a page like that, I filled out the page properties of the page with things that I'm interested in for like overview pages or something like this. So I prepare this for them. And if they want, they can use it as a landing page and include additional information. If they don't, then, well, at least I have my numbers. And there you have one project page properties box. You can give IDs for the page property box, and that's about everything you can do with it. Oh yes, and now I remember from the example what this page property ID meant. You can select for your page property report. If I'm going back here, remember, like 10 minutes ago, we looked at the properties from this page property macro, and in the option there was this box page properties ID. That's exactly what is referred to here. So when you call this page property box metadata, and you have the same property name in both tables, this one is metadata, this one is resources, you could, in your page property report, specify that you only take properties from table. So that's a further option for filtering. Yeah, okay, so this is a property box about the status. This is a property box on where the project is. and where to find resource pages from different project phases or in the value chain. That's another story. I could explain that later, but I don't want to go into details now. And then I have added another page properties box with hidden is true. So besides having like tables and real page properties in here you can also use the page property box to hide content and only open it up for people who are editing the page. So if you click on hidden here, then of course you don't see anything, I hope. Yeah, no, you don't. And that means you can only see this box and the content in edit mode. And so you can leave warnings for editors. If you have a page that is important, you can place a warning at the top and say, don't edit this thing, or be very careful because this is a very important page. Or you can like put content propositions in here where like you have nothing yet as content, but you could imagine this is a good structure for content on that page, and you can just put it in here as a reminder of things that you still want to do, but which you don't want to show in view mode already. Yeah. So that's if you have done web pages, this would be an HTML comment, for example. Okay, I think I have not changed anything. I just go back to this page again so you can see what it looks like in view mode. You have the box with the properties on the status. You have the box with resources, depending on where they are in the value chain, and then this big hidden box with all the topic propositions is not visible anymore. So it's a good way to have a nicely structured view of your key information, and at the same time have some means of evaluating contents of a page automatically. I just wanted to show you a small macro that is this one. It's called status macro. And that gives you the option just to enter text and color it. So in an overview page like this, so you have a nice graphical marker of a status, for example, or maybe other things as well.